Hi, everyone. Welcome to this presentation on our externally led patient-focused drug development meeting and our new program, Voices of LU, where we will be collecting insights from you all for our externally led patient-focused drug development meeting. We're going to explain what all of this means, so don't worry, that was a long name. We're just going to quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Kate Stratton. I'm the executive director of Lipodystrophy United. My mom founded Lipodystrophy United about 13 years ago, and we're now continuing her legacy. And the last 2.5 years have been super successful in building community and research and advocacy. And we're so excited that you all are part of this journey.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Halperin and I am the research director for Lipodystrophy United. I am a patient myself. I have familial partial lipodystrophy type 1 and I'm a biologist. I have 15 years of experience in research and I will be the researcher for this project.
Hi, my name is Francesca. I'm the operations manager for Lipodystrophy United. I'm so excited to do this program with everyone, and I will be helping Kate co-facilitate all the cohorts.
Well, great. I'm going to start with a short presentation about what this FDA meeting really is. I'm going to share my screen. Present. Does everyone see my screen? If I move the slide, do you see that too? Perfect. So, in a quick presentation, I'm going to be talking about the importance of this meeting that I just said over and over, and it's a long name, so I'm not going to say it right now again. As you all probably know, lipodystrophy syndromes encompass a heterogeneous, which means all different, collection of rare diseases. Lipodystrophies are fundamentally characterized by the abnormal distribution or selective progressive loss of adipose tissue, which is basically body fat from various parts of the body. Our mission as an organization is to increase awareness and understanding of lipodystrophy among the patient community, medical professionals, and stakeholders. And I'm going to tell you about this meeting that will directly align with all that our mission entails. Our vision for the future are accurate diagnoses, quality care, effective treatment, and maybe one day a cure. You just met our team. Here's also a picture of Andrea Stratton, who's my mom. She's the chief advisor. And here are some pictures of our wonderful community from our last scientific symposium in 2024 at the University of Michigan. So what is an externally led patient-focused drug development meeting? It's an FDA initiative created to ensure that real lived experience guides the future of drug development. This meeting is organized by the patient community, so not the FDA, so that the conversation really reflects our priorities, struggles, and hopes for the future as a lipodystrophy community. The FDA will listen as we express the burden of disease and treatment. Researchers and industry will listen. And most importantly, our community will actually be leading the conversation. We're going to share personal stories. We're going to have a panel discussions. So if you're interested in this, please reach out to us. We'll have live polling. We'll also share data from our program that Sharon is going to present after me. And this will really help shape how future treatments are evaluated by the FDA. This meeting will take place on September 11th, 2026. This is a Friday. It will be both on Zoom and in person, so you can attend either way. This will be in Alexandria, most likely. That's pretty near the FDA. It's a small, super cute town, easily accessible from major airports in the DC area. Our expected clinician speaker is Dr. Elif Oral. And the speakers and panelists will be people in our community, both caregivers and people with lipodystrophy. This is more than an event for our community. It's a turning point. Our voices will directly influence the future of lipodystrophy care, treatment, and diagnosis. Our lived experience will guide drug developers and researchers, and our community will define our priorities for trials, treatments, and care. We're a rare disease community that has fought for recognition for the past 13 years. This moment is monumental, probably the most important moment we've had in 13 years. I'm going to go over a little bit of what the agenda will look like. We'll give an opening remark. The FDA will give an opening remark. Dr. Arel probably will give a clinical overview and background on the condition. We'll have two panels. The first one is, what are the most burdensome effects of your day-to-day life? So the burden of the disease. This extends beyond things like metabolic markers, A1C, triglycerides. We're talking about the day-to-day burden. Like, what do you feel on the day-to-day? And how can the FDA, drug developers, and everyone involved start to actually address those day-to-day burdens? We'll also have a long, large group discussion. So we'll be taking comments from Zoom and also from people that attend in person. Our second panel after lunch will be current approaches to treatment and burden of treatment, and also the types of things people in our community would be able to tolerate in a clinical trial. So this will be very important. So we really want to elevate the full lived experience, like I said. Things like hyperphagia, severe insulin resistance, chronic pain, reproductive health challenges, many things that burden many people in our community are not currently the endpoints for clinical studies. So we want your voice so that you can put your input on the burden. Even if you don't have a high burden, that's important to know too. We want to highlight disparities and unmet needs. And we want to unite stakeholders for long-term progress in the lipodystrophy space. So this slide is basically about who benefits. Really, everyone benefits. The FDA will really benefit because we will publish a Voice of the Patient report, which will include everything we say in the meeting, so that every time a new drug comes across the FDA's desk, they actually have to review the Voice of the Patient report. This will help us as patients and caregivers because we'll actually have our experiences validated by important people for the first time. And also, we'll all be learning to be better advocates, which will be very inspirational and very good for our bonds in the community. Of course, lipodystrophy advocates will benefit because we're advancing the space of lipodystrophy. And industry will get insights in this meeting, which will help them develop better therapies in the future. So I actually will have Sharon talk about the 4 major subtypes of lipodystrophy in her presentation, but you can view them here. And she'll also talk about the burdens. You know what? That's the end of my presentation. I'll let Sharon talk about all of these other things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kate. So some of you know our support group, which is called Tea with Lou, where we meet and discuss our day-to-day lives and our disease. But we wanted to take this group into another level and really do a research plan for our community so that we can take the things that you say, the community, and put it into numbers where we can show it to the FDA and to all of the stakeholders that will be in the room during the PFDD meeting. We call it Voices of LU, and we really want to capture your stories so we can show it to everyone. So when we are looking at the history of lipodystrophy, we see that clinicians and drug companies, pharma companies, usually look at endpoints in clinical studies that are only metabolic endpoints, which means they're looking at our A1C, they're looking at our triglycerides, liver functions, weight or BMI, but they are not looking at the invisible burden of the disease, which can be fatigue and brain fog, hyperphagia, which means insatiable hunger, chronic pain, social isolation, body dysmorphia, and mental health. And this is something that we want to expose and show to all of the stakeholders that this is something that is very bothersome to most patients. So we want to build this bridge to the FDA so that we can get an input from you guys, the community, process the information that we have in this program, Voices of LU, and then give an output where those clinicians and FDA and stakeholders can understand and see the complete burden of the disease beyond just the metabolic endpoints. So I will give a quick introduction to the structure of this program. We are going to recruit patients, caregivers, care partners, family members, whoever wants to join us, who has a connection with lipodystrophy. And we are going to send a survey. And this is a baseline survey, which is more quantitative than qualitative, which means with some numbers in it, where we want to capture the baseline of your disease. We want to ask about the diagnosis of your disease or the loved ones. We want to know about your symptoms, which medications are you on, and more questionnaires like this. This questionnaire will take about 15 to 20 minutes to answer, and we will send it before the first meeting, but we will have time on the first meeting to answer together. I mean, each individual person will answer his own or her own questionnaire, but we will be there to help you guys. The second phase of the study will be the Zoom meetings, 4 meetings for each cohort, every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks, where we talk about the burden of the disease. And we will have some questions for you. We want to hear your stories and everything you can tell us about living with lipodystrophy. Then after this, we are going to do some processing for the information, take your stories and try to capture every information that we can. And at the end, we can have a report where we can show on the PFDD meeting, and we have some data to show on the final report after the meeting. So Kate talked a little bit about the types of lipodystrophy, and we all know we have 4 main types of lipodystrophy. The first one is FPLD, or familial partial lipodystrophy, which means that it's a genetic lipodystrophy with partial loss of fat, mainly loss of fat around the lower limbs, and gain of fat around the belly area, neck area, and other places as well. We have the second type, which is CGL, congenital generalized lipodystrophy, which means that this disease is genetic and it's a complete near loss of adipose tissue or fat everywhere. We have the acquired types, APL, acquired partial lipodystrophy, which means that someone acquired the disease during their life, and they lose fat in certain areas, but not in all places. And AGL, acquired generalized lipodystrophy, which means that it's acquired, someone acquired the disease during their life, and they lose fat almost everywhere in their body. We will have in this study 3 cohorts and not 4 cohorts. The first cohort will be FPLD, the second one for CGL, and the third one will be for both of the acquired types. And we decided to do it because in our community, we don't have a lot of community members with the acquired types. But if we see that we have a lot of people, we maybe decide to do them separately. So who is eligible for this study? You need to be an adult, 18 plus. You need to be a caregiver, care partner, family member of a patient with lipodystrophy or have lipodystrophy yourself. You need to speak pretty good English because this whole thing would be in English. You need to have access to computer for the Zoom meetings, and you need to actively participate in this study, which means share your story, share your thoughts, and give us all the information that you feel comfortable giving us. If you're a minor or you are a caregiver of a minor, you can still participate. We can have a special request to have a minor participating, but if not in this study, you can still share your story and your voice will be heard at the PFDD meeting and in the final report, but it won't be as part of this study. What do we want to capture? So we talked about the baseline survey, and we want to capture data using patient-reported outcome measures, which are validated, and we use them in several clinical studies, specifically in lipodystrophy and other clinical studies. And we are going to capture physical activity, something like, can you walk a block? Do you do your yard work or other work in your house? We want to capture sleep and fatigue. We want to capture brain fog and other cognitive issues, and we want to capture mental health. We also would like to capture something that is called LDS score, so lipodystrophy severity score, which means taking some metabolic endpoints like your A1C, did you have any pancreatitis, did you have any liver issues, and all kinds of metabolic issues. And this is to really see if we can compile data that shows that your mental health or cognitive health is related to your physical severity of the disease. Phase 2 of the study is the live sessions. So as I said, every 2 weeks, each session would be 90 minutes, and we are going to do it on Zoom. We need you to be on camera. We need you to speak, to share your story. But if you feel uncomfortable being on camera during the session, that would be okay. You can speak with us up front and we can manage everything. We want you to be as comfortable as you can, but we want you not to be quiet and share your story, share what you feel with us. So we talked about 4 sessions for each cohort. The first session would be about the broad burden of the disease. What is like for you to have a bad day? What do you feel during this day? Can you do your chores? Can you do fun activities? What do you feel during this day? What it is like to be in a good day? The second session would be about the invisible burden, which means hyperphagia, we cannot see hunger, mental health, body dysmorphia. Session number 3 will be about treatment and the gaps that we have. What treatments are you on? Are you feeling good on them, or do you have many symptoms that just make the burden of the disease higher but make your metabolic endpoints like A1C lower? And session number 4 will be risk tolerance. What is a hard no for you during a clinical study? Is a specific symptom a hard no? So let's say this treatment can give you pancreatitis. Would you like to join this clinical study or not? Are you able to travel far away to join a clinical study? And what feature of the clinical study will certainly give you the option to join. We do not see you as a subject in this study, but as a co-researcher. We want to do this together, and we don't want you to feel like you are a test subject or a lab mouse. we need your consent to do this study, and this study is going through an IEB review, which means an ethical review board, so that you know that everything is covered by the review board and ethic, and you don't have any worries. But we need your radical honesty. We need to know everything, and we will listen and share it with the world.
Of course, only to the extent that you feel comfortable. We're not going to force you to share anything you don't feel comfortable sharing.
Of course. And this is right on time because we care a lot about your safety, privacy, and trust. So when you come to the group and talk, we have something that is called the Vegas rule, which means everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Same with this group. Everything that is being said in the group will stay in the Zoom conversation, and we are not going to talk about everything that we heard outside of it. All the data that we are going to collect will be de-identified, which means no one will have the information, your private information, together with any other information that you shared during the Zoom conversation or the initial survey. So we will only see your participant number. So let's say your participant number 1, we will call you number 1, and we will see all your information under this number. We won't have any names, birth dates, locations, nothing. And of course, we want you to trust us. Kate and Francesca will be the main facilitators for this event, and I will join as well. And we've all been trained in trauma-informed peer support, which means that we can do peer support, talk about this kind of tough subjects, and we know if you need any mental health, we can help you with it. So basically, we are taking the recordings of the sessions, we are going to make a transcript out of them, we are going to de-identify them or anonymize them, so we remove all names, date of birth, and other private information. We are going to do an analysis for this data together with some of our researchers, and at the end we will show the data at the PFDD meeting and get the report into the voices of the patients. What are the benefits for joining us? So we do have a small financial benefit. Everyone who is completing this program will get a small gift card from us for just thanking you for sharing with us and giving us your time. Emotional benefit. I know that the first time I joined the Zoom group, I suddenly realized that I'm not alone, and I see other people with my disease and with the same symptoms and the same diagnostic journey, and it really helped me to be able to deal with my disease. And social interactions is mainly good for us, and of course this report at the end will stay forever. So your voice about your disease will be there forever, and for every new therapy for lipodystrophy, many people will have to read this report and see the struggles in order to have approval for their therapy. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We just want to make sure that you feel comfortable with us, comfortable sharing your stories and information with us. Yeah, just share your stories, let your voice be heard, and thank you.
I also want to note one more thing. If you all have been to our Tea with Lou sessions, this will be similar. It'll just be more structured. So I believe that we're still going to be able to get the same type of community bonding and conversations as we get in Tea with Lou, which is why we've morphed this program from Tea with Lou. So I just want to note that there will be a lot of emotional and I think community benefit. If you have any questions, you can email Sharon at lipodystrophyunited.org or Kate at lipodystrophyunited.org, or you can message us on any social media that you follow us or on our website. We'll answer your questions quickly. Head to our website or to our social media to see how you can sign up for your cohort. It's just going to be a short Google form, and then we'll send you more information after you sign up on the Google form. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.